Hey guys, I'm Diana, otherwise known as Dianka Pores, and I have some explaining to do. I haven't posted on here in over a year, and as you can see behind me, there's a very good reason to it. So before I get into today's video, I do want to fill you in on what I've been busy with over the past year. So first of all, I have installed these massive shelves in my packaging room, and I think the last time you saw me, I had about 30 pigments here, and then I added some floating colors, some glitter, some more colors, some ocean pigment paste. I also created an ocean course for anybody who's trying to learn ocean resin art, but more on that later. And then today I'm releasing some colorful glitter glass. So now I have over 70 pigments for resin artists and glitters and all that stuff. So it's absolute chaos in here. And I want to explain why this process takes so long. So when I release my pigments, a lot of them are special blends that I create. So when I do that, I create the color, I send them to my team, I have them match it, send it back, and it's a sending back and forth thing until I approve of them, and then they make them in bulk, they ship them to me, and I actually have decided to package them myself in order to keep them affordable to you. So I cut the cost by packaging them myself, which is a painstakingly long process. But I have to package them, I have to take photos of them, edit, put it on my website in order to make it accessible to you, and then label them and all that jazz. It's truly a very long process. So that is why it's been taking me such a long time in order to make some art. But finally, I've released everything that I had planned to for the last year, including my ocean course. So I'm ready to start making commissions, doing artwork, and making YouTube videos. I do want to quickly touch on these ocean pigment pastes right here. I call them my ocean pigment paste, but essentially you can use them for geodes or anything else. I do all of the time, but these are in the color range that I specifically formulated. It took me 2 years actually to custom make these colors for ocean paintings. And so I have a black, a dark blue, a teal, and different shades of blues, sand, and white. But I do want to point out the white here because I use it for my geodes, but I also love using it for my oceans. And I named it, it's kind of cheesy, but I absolutely love the name. I named it Excellence White because it does have amazing lacing abilities. Here's a video of what lacing and cells look like in a painting. So I love to use this for my oceans. I love to use it for my geodes. And I just wanted to touch on these before I get into the video because I am making an ocean table for this video. Today's video is an ocean-inspired side table that I created for an actor who played in the most recent Spider-Man, so that was a total honor for me to make. I do want to say that these are just several clips that I found in my camera roll, so it's not the full thing and it's not a tutorial, but I do want to share with you some of the process of how I made this table. And if you do want an ocean tutorial, I just released an incredible 2-hour course that is a step-by-step, very detailed. It gives so much useful information onto how to create a stunning ocean painting, and I spill all of my secrets, all of my methods. It's very, very detailed. And I want to say that once you have access to the course, you can watch it and return to it as many times as you'd like. But before I get into this video, I do want to show you some of my pigments that I released and some of the glitter glass that I'm about to release today. So let's go ahead and get into that, and then I'll get into the video. Here are the 20 highly anticipated, long-awaited, forever to make colors. Can we just appreciate this new collection? So the first one is my ultra white. This is the most white pigment that I have. My royal white did have a little bit of a cream tint to it, so I wanted to find something that would get as white as mica could get. This next one is called Alchemy. It does have a little bit of a gold tint to it underneath. The next color is Siren Blue, and it also has some gold undertones just like Alchemy does. The next purple burgundy shade is Love Bite. This is a dark, sparkling shade of blue called Merkaba. This color is a very rich and dark blue called Blue Viper. This is Portal. I named it this because it does get deceiving, and it's a super fun pigment because it does turn blue in some areas. You can kind of tell around the rim of the jar where the blue is coming through.
This is Venom. It is a dark green and blue color, and if I could eat it, I would. This is Hypnotic, another dark blue, almost navy kind of purple color. This is Buttercream, and it's just a nice neutral color that I wanted to add to my collection. This is Aquatica, and it's just a nice icy blue. This is Prism. It's a very dark blue purple color that has some shimmer to it. This color is Fallen Empire. It also has some gold undertones similar to Siren Blue and Alchemy. This is Enchantress, and it's just a very dark wine color. This color is Cypress. This is Parfait. It is a very peachy, rosy, natural, neutral color. And as you know, getting any of these natural creamy colors are very hard, so I'm so excited for honestly anything in my creme brulee set. This is Magic, and it's just a dark, dusty, mystical purple. This is Vanilla Bean. It's a little bit lighter than Buttercream. This is French Gâteau. It is a mauve, brown, tan, taupe color. It's very multifaceted, and I love it so much. And this one, I know you guys are all very familiar of. This is Dulce, and the most perfect gray brown tone champagne color that I'm so freaking excited to release.
Up next, I have my new glitter glass and metal shards, and the way that I like to use these is when I create crystal geode resin art, I like to drizzle a little bit of resin over my glass, and then I sift these over the glass just to give it a lot of shine and sparkle. And finally, I created a cute little promo video for my new pigment paste that I just released, and I did an ocean-inspired painting using them. But of course, you can use them for geodes or any type of resin art that you would like. The wood slab. It is 19 by 25, and it is made from Primavera wood, which is not too dense and not too soft, so it is perfect for epoxy work. Me from the future, here to tell you that I'm about to eat my words, because sanding this wood was actually very, very difficult. Hello. It was actually extremely tough, because the manufacturer who I got this wood from said that it'd be soft. I guess we'll just explain ourselves like this. So the manufacturer that I got the wood from said that the wood isn't too dense and it's not too soft, so that it would be perfect for epoxy projects. And when I got it, the wood actually needed a lot of sanding. So I started with a very low grit just to get the first couple layers off. And then I noticed that even though I had a very coarse sandpaper, it started to polish the board. So I had to switch from low grit to high grit to low grit to high grit just to get any, I guess, traction onto the wood because it was so dense. I don't know, I don't have any woodworking experience, so if anybody here watching knows what I could do in a similar situation like this in the future without using a planer, or if anyone else watching is also curious, please comment below. I would definitely need your help with that, but I probably sanded for a total of like 8 to 10 hours, and my dad stepped in to help me. We were both doing it at the same time from different ends of the wood table. I managed to do it eventually. Here's the rest of the clip. You can see here that it has a lot of texture, so I'm gonna have to sand it down a bunch to get it to smooth out and work on these edges a little bit. But my plan is to have the ocean pour from top down, probably around here. I want to hide this knot. You can see the little hole, and so I don't want that to be showing. So I will hide it with some resin. So I'm going to get to sanding. I'm going to start with some coarse sandpaper, and then I'm going to go down to some fine grit. As I'm sanding, you can start to see these vertical lines come through, and that is from the machine that cut the slab. So all that means is that I have a lot of sanding to do to get rid of all of the lines coming through here just to get to the natural wood. So at this point, what's happening is it's basically just polishing the board, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to try and use more coarse sandpaper. I'm going to use my palm sander, cut out a piece, and then see how this will help me get rid of these lines. I've sanded this guy down as much as I can for today. You can see where the lines started to clear up, and I have a lot more work to do everywhere else. Honestly, I just did the bottom half of the slab, and the top half is still super coarse. I've got a lot of sanding to do there, but it's coming along. And honestly, the rings are starting to show, and I don't know about you, but this is like a work of art in and of itself. I'm super excited. It looks so nice. Now that I'm done with the sanding and the board is super smooth, I'm going to fill in all the cracks with this Gorilla Glue wood filler. And also, because I want to strengthen this wood filler a little bit, I'm going to mix in some Gorilla Glue wood glue and use that to fill in all the cracks. I've got my slab here. I've marked exactly the angle in which the slab will face once it's flipped over so I don't accidentally drill in the legs sideways. And so now I'm just trying to place these legs in a way that I'll find the best location for them to distribute the weight of the slab evenly, so when I flip it, it will stand perfectly. It's the next day and I'm looking at the slab and I'm noticing that in some areas the epoxy has been absorbed by the wood, so I'm gonna have to do a second coat. But the other thing that I noticed is that there's some pooling going on because one edge is raised higher than the rest. So I'm going to show you that right now. You can see here that this is higher because all the resin pooled down here. And you can see areas in which that the resin was absorbed. So that just means I have to do another layer or so. But I'm going to see if I can possibly sand this down to maybe lower it. We do have a layer of resin on here, so it is going to be tough to sand through. So it's sanded down and it's definitely a bit lower. So let's see if that helps. I'm gonna do another coat of clear resin. I might do another one tomorrow, but let's just see how this works out. At this point, you might be wondering, well, Diana, if you're having trouble with off-gassing and having the board absorb so much resin, why don't you just prime it with some gesso or any white paint? The reason is that I want to allow the color and the natural grain of the wood to show through, and I don't want to cover it up with any white paint. So my other alternative is to prime it with resin. I know right now it probably is starting to look a little bit crazy and the waves look out of control, but there is a method to my madness, so stay tuned to the end and then you'll see it all come together. I also want to point out how easy and effortless it is for my Excellence White Pigment Paste to lace, because you can already see down the line where I didn't even add any heat or movement, it's already starting to lace. It's already doing the work for you. So if you haven't tried my white and you do ocean artwork, or even you want to use it for your geodes because it's just a super bright white, I highly recommend testing it out, seeing it for yourself, and seeing how it works for you. It is the next day, and I'm seeing that there was some pooling due to the one edge being lifted just a little bit higher than the rest. But now that I feel it, I can see that because the resin was so thick, it all leveled out. So my next layer is going to be perfect. And so I'm very excited about that, but I'm going to show you what I have. You can see where everything slid off and pulled here and then exited this way. But now everything is super level, and I'm very excited to do the next layer. So I quickly realized that this dust contraption was not gonna do it. So I switched over to this one and it was much better. It's basically just PVC pipe that I bought from Home Depot, and then I cut to size, and then I wrapped it with some saran wrap just to hopefully keep out some of the dust. It's not until you bring the painting outside that you can see how vibrant those blues are. Granted, the turquoise doesn't show as well on camera, but it's just so beautiful. Now I'm going to start sanding the part that we all despise, literally the worst part. But definitely satisfying because that means you're towards the end. Technically, the most efficient way to do this is by heating up drips and then the drips on the underside and then peeling back the tape. Well, I didn't want to do that because these drips were so thicky thick that I was very prone to peeling back the resin from the side of the panel, and I did not want to do that because it could ruin the artwork on the side. So I first sanded them down to be really short, and then I heat up, I don't know why that sounds so weird, those drips on the underside, and then I removed the tape, and now I'm going in with fine grit sandpaper and then sanding it down so we completely avoided any sort of peeling off of the side of the wood board. And we have a seamless underside. And now for the best part, in my opinion, is branding your work. This is literally the most satisfying thing, and there's no reason behind it. It's just so cool. So if you don't have a branding iron, I highly recommend investing in one. I found mine on Etsy and it didn't even take that long to get to me, but branding any of your wood projects, it's literally, or even your paintings, the back of your panels, very, very satisfying. Now I just mix some Rubio monocoat. The purpose of it is to seal in the wood, to protect it from any damage from water, sun damage, wear and tear, all this stuff, but I especially love the way that it makes my wood look so hydrated and it just makes the grain pop. It's just very beautiful. I'm going to try and add links to my description, so if you're interested in the Rubio monocoat, that'll be in my Amazon list on my storefront, and then I'm going to look up the branding iron that I bought and add that link there too for Etsy, so be on the lookout for that. But yes, I'm going to try and add all of my materials. And if I forgot any or missed anything, definitely comment below. I read my comments and I'll add anything that I forgot to my list. Here I'm just building a custom crate for shipping. This table is going to go all the way to California, essentially across the country, so I want to ensure that it gets there safely. So I'm building this wooden crate just to protect it from any damages, because as you all probably know, shipping companies love to play volleyball with our packages. It's quite insane. So we gotta do our best to protect our stuff.
Smile, cheese.
Thank you very much.
Did you smile?
Yes, I did.
I want to see how many implants you have. There's a couple more screws.
I'm going.
Going, getting going. Smile.
Cheese.
Oh, I got 2 implants.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Wala ka na.
Oh.
I told you. Oh, Gucci.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Very welcome.
Very nice. Very nice.
Next project.
Oh yeah, next project.
What's gonna be?
A course.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.